Hey everyone, Elkjaer. So today I'm doing a practice commentary for the SGDQ run coming up on this Friday, unless you're watching this video after GDQ is over. But on Friday I'm doing a speedrun at Games Done Quick. And joining me on the commentary for this one is Blegas. So why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Blegas. I also stream and speedrun Horizon Zero Dawn, and I focus on ultra hard categories just like Elkjaer.
Yeah, because I mean, ultra hard just is the superior way.
Of course.
So yeah, the run we're going to be doing here at GDQ will be the Frozen Wilds speedrun, New Game Plus Ultra Hard. So that's what we are going to be showing off today. And like I said, this is going to be a practice commentary, so it's going to be similar to what we will do in the actual GDQ run. And, you know, hopefully it goes well, and you will enjoy it. So let's get ready to start here. So at the beginning of this run, you guys, if you have seen it before, this run is a little unique that we don't start at the beginning of the game, because we recently changed the rules about 4 months ago at this point. We changed the rules, so now Frozen Wilds speedruns start right up here next to Gravehorde, where the Frozen Wilds start, and you can see we haven't entered the Frozen Wilds area yet. And time starts as soon as you grab the first ladder into the Frozen Wilds point here. So let's get the weapons reloaded so we are ready to go. And let's get into the run. Oh, one thing I do have to point out, of course, is I'm playing on Ultra Hard, as you can see here in the settings, and you cannot switch difficulty once you're on Ultra Hard. Or in New Game Plus, sorry, you can switch difficulty. So let's get ready. I have a 3-second countdown on my timer, just because that makes it a bit easier to time your jump onto the ladder here. So let's get going.
Here we go.
So, since this is Ultra Hard, I guess I can quickly go over what is unique about Ultra Hard compared to other difficulties. So, on Ultra Hard, the main issue, or the main thing people will notice when they play it first, is aim assist is automatically turned off on Ultra Hard, and you can't turn it on. So, the run is done completely without aim assist. And other things on Ultra Hard is all your weapons are nerfed to do less damage. Enemy attacks are obviously buffed, and enemies are also quite a lot more aggressive, basically meaning that there are less time in between their attacks, and they also start fighting you a lot quicker. But this is New Game Plus, so our weapons being nerfed, yeah, it might not look like it once we start killing stuff.
Yeah, and one more note regarding aim assist on ultra hard is a lot of you might be familiar with aim assist with like hit scan kinds of types of games where it slows down your aiming the closer you get. In terms of Horizon Zero Dawn, it kind of effectively curves your arrows to hit your target. So when you're doing ultra hard here, you really have to lead your shots. So you need to really understand how the enemies move.
Yeah, exactly. So basically there's no hit scan weapons in this game, all of them are using projectiles. And yeah, aim assist just works a little different than Horizon. So I guess quickly to go over the story of the Frozen Wilds. So basically, it might be a little hard to explain if you don't know about the main game, but we don't really have time to explain the main game story. But basically the Frozen Wilds story takes place in what we call Yellowstone, but in the game it's known as the Cut, which is the Banuk area of the game. And yeah, in Yellowstone there's a volcano that is about to erupt because I guess you could say an AI has taken over the facility that's located in it. And it's causing an eruption, so that's like the basic part of the story.
Yeah, it might be hard to see, but in the context of the speed run, but you will see a huge plume of smoke in the background. That's because it's starting to erupt.
Yeah, you can see the volcano right there.
There it is.
As for dialogue in the game, you can see right here, you can just skip through it, besides one sentence that guy says, because he kind of sets up the story for us. But you basically just mash X, and the faster you mash, the faster you can get through the dialogue. If you're a good masher, you can save some time there.
Talk to her apprentice, who followed the river north.
So one thing you'll notice is that we're doing a lot of rolling right here because that turns out to be the fastest movement. Now, one caveat to this is that this being an RPG style game, there's a skill tree, there's some upgrades and everything. One of these skills lets you roll a little bit longer, but it turns out that that skill it's really easy to invoke, but it's also a bit slower. So you really have to be sure either not learn that skill or you have to be really good at invoking only short rolls.
Yep. And now, right now here, we are gonna do the Tolnik. And you might be thinking, well, the Tolnik is a side objective. Why do we have to do this in a run where we're just gonna play through the main story? Well, that's because later in the story we're gonna meet up with Elkjaer. And I got on my mount here, I'm not supposed to do that. Oh well, it's not gonna matter too much. Anyway, but the reason why we do the Tolnik here, where we have to collect 3 parts for the Tolnik to repair it, that is the second one I just picked there. The reason we have to do this is when we meet with Elkjaer, she wants us to challenge air attacks so we can get inside the volcano if we beat him. And we have to prove ourselves worthy of challenging him before we can do that. And she says we have to complete 2 out of 4 side objectives, where the Tolnik and the hunting ground, which we're gonna get to later, are the fastest. And the other 2 you could have used is the
pigments and taking out a bandit camp.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so here we're using a weapon. This is a recent strat. I believe a charlatan figured this one out, but basically you use the Forge Fire weapon and you can take out these Glint Hawks, because finding these Glint Hawks can be a bit of a pain, the way that they fly around. It's hard to hit your shots, but also you need to loot one of them, and it can be a bit chaotic. So fortunately we can get the high ground there and then take them out really quickly and really control the fight.
Yeah, and as we all know, having the high ground is a win by default. So,
absolutely.
And right here we just need to kill off all the scavengers, and then we scan the Tolnik as soon as we're able to, because that skips some dialogue and makes us start repairing the Tolnik a little faster here. So you might have noticed the weapon I just used there. It's the ice cannon, which is a weapon of the ice rail in this game. And I'm actually gonna use 2 different ice rails in this run. One is upgraded to do a lot of damage, where the other one is upgraded to do a lot of freeze. And that one was obviously the damage one. Which basically allows me to one-shot most of these small machines, as long as I hit them on their weak spots, or on a spot on their body that has no armor. Right here, now we just have repaired the Tolnik, so we just need to climb it and override it, and that counts the Tolnik as complete.
Yeah, one of the real nice things about the ice cannon is most of the weapons in here are all projectile based, and on ultra hard that is really challenging without any sort of aim assist. But the ice cannon is, it's still probably projectile based, but it's so fast you might as well call it hit scan.
Yeah. And right here you're gonna see the first instance of restarting from save to abuse the checkpoint system. By the way, that was a sub 6 Tolnik, that was pretty good. Good start to the run, actually. Looking at the splits. But restarting from save, after you complete certain objectives, the game sets a checkpoint in case you die, but we abuse that when we restart from save. So because normally you would have to climb down the Tolnik or zipline down it, but I guess rappel down it. But restarting from save just gives you a checkpoint that's closer to the next objective right here. Want to explain the tower here?
Yeah, so there are a lot of these new machines that are growing out of the ground, control towers, and they effectively, they repair nearby machines, and they also will disable your mount, your robo-horse. So you have to take out this tower first before you can really take out the other machines effectively. Now on story mode, you can do enough damage to almost kill the machines before they can get repaired by the tower, but on ultra hard it's just much better to take out the control tower first.
Yeah, exactly. So on ultra hard, basically the tower repairs the machines faster than you can really damage them. So taking out the tower first is vital.
Also, sometimes you get lucky when you get that shot up top, just like what Elk did, and the tower will blow up, and it might apply some damage or even kill some smaller machines nearby.
Yeah,
but sometimes we don't get so lucky.
Yeah, when the tower blows up, it does an explosion, and it does damage nearby machines as well. And there's a scrapper that, if you get some good timing, one of the scrappers will actually be standing right next to the tower and give you a free kill with the explosion. So coming up here, we are going to do the Shaman's Path, because this path is what's going to lead us to Aurea. Now, recently we had a little bit of a rule change in regards to this, because there's actually a massive skip, or glitch, you can abuse, basically, on Shaman's Path. But it has some issues with it, because it's very hardware specific. Because at the moment nobody has been able to do the skip on PC, and also if you play on a PS4 Pro, the skip is incredibly inconsistent.
Yeah, and unfortunately you need the worst PS4 basically to get it to be as easy as possible. So having these hardware differences just kind of reduces the mood of running this game.
Yeah, exactly.
Or running, at least running this category. So doing this category switch was a really good idea to basically democratize the run and let more people be able to compete on more level playing ground.
Yeah. So here in the main category on the Frozen Wilds, we don't allow the skip, so you will not be seeing it in this run. It is still allowed, it's just under a different category. Because again, it's pretty much only worth it, or you can pretty much only do it at a competitive level if you have a PS4 Slim or a regular PS4, because it's incredibly hardware based, because we're not 100% sure, but the skip does seem to be very affected about how much the game lags, and yeah, it lags more on the worst hardware you have. So that's the thing with it.
So those of you that have played through this, you probably have, at least casually, you might notice that the climbing in the game, the first time you play it, probably feels really smooth, but for a speed run, it turns out to be really almost painfully slow. So you'll see that we start jumping not using the handholds, even though they might be right nearby. And we're using these completely different skips by kind of skyrimming ourselves up these mountains here.
Exactly. Right there we actually skipped another one of these bridge puzzles by just climbing around them. It looks a little harder than it is. Oh, catapult. Oh my god. No! Didn't get it. I tried. Sorry.
So close.
I'm losing a lot of time here now, but oh well. I had the chance, so I had to go for it.
It's always nice when that lines up just right, but it's hard to pull off.
Yeah, didn't get the full jump off there.
Bridge.
Yeah, so that bridge goes up and down, and you can use it as a catapult to basically launch you up and land on the other side. But yeah, timing was just a little bit off there, sadly. And also, just a thing I wanted to point out about the Shaman's Path trick that we just talked about. The other thing with it is it's about 2 minutes faster when you do that trick, so therefore it's like... Oh, forgot to fast travel here. Right here we abuse a campfire. We basically activate the campfire by getting close enough, and then we go a little bit back so we can fast travel to it. But yeah, the Shaman's Path is also like a major skip because it saves 2 minutes, and that's why it's justified to have a category split on it.
Yeah, there are some optional battles in the Frozen Wilds. We just went past one right now where there's a control tower and one of the new machines. It's part of the Frozen Wilds, which is called a Frost Claw. But don't worry, we'll definitely need to be fighting those later.
Oh yeah, indeed. There'll be more bear fighting later. So right here again, you can notice how I'm just using basically the environment to climb up things rather than using the intended climbing path, because again, climbing just overall is very slow in this game. So if you can skip it, you want to skip it.
I should take some blue gleam. Naltuk said Aurea went past the shrine.
And also that's a good thing about this game, because the way the game was developed was it basically gave you a lot of freedom as to how you can move about. Where it's not like other games that are very limiting in like what you can climb or not. In this game, it's like, yeah, just try and see what you can get. So it lends itself well to, you know, just
What was this place?
speed running naturally that way, because you just have a lot of freedom as a player in this game.
Yeah, there definitely are some invisible walls here and there that you just can't go past, but fortunately the way the game's been designed, there's a lot of intricate collision, which lets you be able to treat the game as some peculiar platformer.
So right here we have our first instance of bring the light back to the center puzzle.
What am I supposed to do with these?
I prefer doing them backwards here, because I've just always been doing that, because when I see puzzles like this in video games, I always find it easier to do them backwards. So that's also what I do in speedruns. It doesn't really matter. I know another runner, Aussie, he does them, you know, the right way around, I guess. But I've always just done them backwards.
Yeah, I personally have recommended people to do them backwards, and then they'll get confused by what I what I mean by that. But you can either, you know, take notes or whatever.
Yeah.
Find out your own.
So coming up here again, we're gonna have another one of these abusing the campfires. So basically, a campfire activates when you're within 50 feet of it. But if you are within those 50 feet, you're not allowed to fast travel to it because you're too close. So you'll see me right here coming up. I'm gonna activate a campfire, and then I'm gonna roll backwards or go back again to get out of range of the campfire and then fast travel to it. So you'll see it right here coming outside the cave. So I'm gonna go up here. You'll notice the campfire turns green on the navigation bar. Then I open the map twice and fast travel to it. Now, there's a reason why I opened the map twice. It's because whenever you discover new things on the map, which you do along your journey, the game does this really cool animation of slowly showing you all the things you have unlocked. But as you probably heard there, I said slowly. So opening the map twice skips that animation, and you can instantly use whatever you discover to fast travel.
It's definitely one of those strats that it looks like the runner made a mistake by closing the map, but it turns out that it's much faster.
Yeah, if you see me open the map twice, it should be intentional, unless I'm actually messing up. But hopefully it's always intentional. So here's another one of these puzzles. This one is just a lot bigger. And we just met Aurea, she's right there. She's been wanting to bring back a spirit that has protected her. I guess just to keep the story explanation short. But that spirit is actually an AI that is responsible for making sure the volcano here at Yellowstone doesn't erupt. But as I said, a hostile AI, which is part of the Zero Dawn project from the main game, has taken over the facility in order to build new machines, because turns out a volcano is a great way to get a lot of energy for a factory. And that's, you know, we have to help this AI take back control of the volcano. We'll see Cyan right here. Or the spirit, as she's known and currently in the story.
Yeah, and for those of you that played the main game, that there was the idea of corruption, that machines were kind of taken over and they kind of had this red glow. So in the Frozen Wilds, now they're called demonic, which is a bit of a double entendre, but it's spelled in the form of like a background computer process. But these machines, which we've already fought a few, like at the tall neck and at the control tower, but they have a purple glow around them. And basically they're modified to have more health and be much more aggressive.
Yeah. So right here we finish off the Shaman's path, and then we can head out. So now we are going to be heading to the hunting ground, which Aurea just told us, yeah, we need to prove ourselves worthy of challenging air attack. So we're going to do that. I'm going to pull out the Stormslinger, because we need to use that at the hunting ground. And yeah, as I said, we already did the tall neck, so that's already one thing done. You can actually do the things beforehand, but the hunting ground is, you know, just faster to do afterwards due to routing. So the Stormslinger is what we're going to be using at the hunting ground, because there's 2 trials you can select from, and you just need to complete one of them. And the control trial, which is basically I guess a tutorial for the Stormslinger, is the fastest one. It's about a minute, probably a minute and a half even faster than the Onslaught one, which is the other one. But the Stormslinger is a tough weapon to use, because the more you shoot it, the more damage you do. But if you overshoot it, it's gonna recoil fire back at you. And on Ultra Hard, unless you are completely unprotected, it does enough to kill you, that overcharge. So that's why we are wearing the specific armor, and you're gonna see me drink some potions here, which I guess Blegas can explain while I focus on the hunting ground.
Sure, yeah. So in this hunting ground, we have to kill one big machine, a Ravager, and 6 smaller machines. And as Elk mentioned, the recoil damage, it won't affect you at first, but the more that you hold down the weapon, well, it becomes much, much stronger, so you can take down the bigger machines like the Ravager. But that also means the recoil damage is also a lot higher. So Elk just took a shock potion. He's coming down here, and he's going to first target this Ravager by unloading it. And you see his health dropped by quite a bit, so he's also spamming health potions to heal at this point. So there we go. We got the Ravager's been taken down, and now he's just focusing on the smaller machines.
One more.
Down 28 HP.
Yeah.
See that recoil damage going in full effect.
Another good one right there. That was 33 seconds. Good one for a run should be sub 20 or sub 25. Oh, sorry, sub 30 or sub 25 for a good run.
Yeah, this trial turns out to be like one of the hardest trials for like a casual to do, because you have to, well, at least if you're trying to get like the highest tier reward, a blazing sun, you have to defeat all those machines in less than 50 seconds. And fortunately, because of the RPG type elements of this game, we have the Stormslinger set up in a very OP manner, so we can do it really, really fast.
Yeah, and also not to frighten anyone, but on the lowest difficulty of the game, known as story difficulty, I always like to point out that the world record for that hunting ground on story difficulty is 4 seconds. And no, I said that correctly. So yeah, you can do that quite fast on story, and I believe the fastest time I've seen on ultra hard is 16 seconds, I believe.
Yeah, I got 15 seconds once.
Oh, you got 15? Okay, damn.
Yeah, that was the best I've seen, but there are some fantastic strats regarding getting the best times on the hunting grounds, not in the middle of a run, but just there's the level leaderboards on speedrun.com, and the strats are really, really fun to watch because a lot of those times just seem absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah. The thing also is with the hunting ground is you might have noticed you can use slowdown in this game to make aiming a little easier, either by manually slowing down with hitting R3, and you can, aim a little easier because things are slowing down, or you can jump and things slow down with a specific skill. In hunting grounds, basically, just to quickly explain, you might seem the times are a bit incredible, but the timer also slows down when you slow down the game, the in-game timer, and that is. And by the way, 4 seconds is not the fastest trial. The fastest hunting ground is 2 seconds. There's one of them that's done in 2 seconds, which is mad.
Absolutely.
All right, gotta head up that.
Yeah, and the time slowdown mechanic is almost critical for ultra hard runs, but on story, some of them can be a bit detrimental because it just, it slows down time, which means it takes longer overall in real time for you to take out machines.
So right here we're gonna do another restart from checkpoint, but we need to do a little bit of an alternative path to get to it. Because it turns out the checkpoint for the next objective here is actually, I cannot find my footing. It's a lot larger than you would think it is. That's what we are gonna abuse here. There we go. The first part of the skip is a little tricky. And now we're gonna use the Stormslinger again when we get to the top here. To clear out a big herd.
Yeah, another thing to mitigate some of that recoil damage, not only are we doing shock potions, but we have an outfit that can mitigate some of that shock damage as well. And after this point, it'll be the last time we use the Stormslinger. Well, for combat anyway. So we'll switch out to the Shield Weaver armor.
Yeah. You might have noticed right there, it looked like I was just, jumping up a wall and then all of a sudden I restart from save. But that's because I hit the checkpoint. So yeah, I'm gonna get my potions ready and then unload on these guys.
Stormslinger can do some AoE damage if you hit the ground.
And then
that's splash
switch to
damage.
the ice riddle, and then we need to hit precise belly shots, because that's one shot on these long legs, because they're not demonic. There's one of them here. Have to finish it off with the bow, and last watcher is right there. And yeah, you can just clear that hurt so fast when you do, you know, multiple weapons and all that.
Alright, here we go.
As you can see there.
Climb the ridge and launch your balloon.
So that's the first part of the Warrior Challenge here. By the way, we are fighting air attack right now to become Chieftain.
That's right. Since we're doing the Chieftains Trial, where we completed the 2 tasks doing the hunting grounds of Tall Neck, and so that let us be known within the Warrack, and that let us challenge Harlock.
None of the other machines
Yeah,
matter.
and right there, normally you're supposed to repel down, but gravity is faster than repels. It also works in real life, but I don't recommend it. Right there, I'm using the ice rail, and then I switch to my Striker to finish off that first Bellowback right there. I have to kill both Bellowbacks, by the way. Striker just have faster DPS, but the range is not that good. So finishing off with the Striker is a little faster, but then using the ice rail on the last guy is necessary, because he's out of range for the Striker bow.
Yeah, usually that Bellowback is pretty far, but sometimes you'll get lucky and they'll get a little bit closer.
And work your way down
Yeah, but most of the time he's like
Most of
close.
the time, yeah.
Now for the bear fight, or the Frostclaw fight. And by the way, right here, normally you're supposed to go around and take a zipline, but again, the checkpoint is massive for this fight, so you can just go down this hill and trigger the fight. So, feel free to commentate this while I fight him.
Sure, yeah, so these Frostclaws, these bears here, there's 3 of them, and this is also another really challenging fight. First off, if you take out one of their 3 weak points, which is either the shoulder or the belly, they'll go into a freeze status, and freezing an enemy is phenomenal in this game because I believe it doubles the damage exactly. So you want to be able to take out one of these weak points. It'll stun the bear for a little bit, and while they're still frozen, you can see their status kind of like ticking down. You can start to apply a lot of damage with the structure.
Yeah, and preferably I want to take out the belly here, because taking out the belly means they take away some of their abilities as well. Because normally they can unfreeze quite quickly if you were to freeze them using their shoulder. But destroying the belly takes away their ability to unfreeze quickly, and we can finish him off like that while he's still frozen.
Yeah, and the belly also does one of the... If you take it out, it disables one of the worst attacks, where the only thing you can do is continuously roll until 4 things pop up, which is obviously very slow. So taking out that belly is fantastic for many reasons.
Yeah, the dig attack, which he's referring to, it is actually so slow that it's better to just eat the hit, and because if they hit you with it, they stop immediately. So it's better to just, you know, tank the hit and continue the fight if that happens. So now we're gonna head to Long Notch here, where we're gonna have to destroy some control towers, because again, like Blegas mentioned earlier, control towers disable your mount, and it's faster to use the mount than walk there, so we have to take out these towers. After the pulse there, I'm whistling for my mount, because the mount spawns when you whistle. So I wait for the pulse to already have happened when I call my mount. This is scary. Because that way my mount will not get hit by the pulse. And then right here, the second tower is, as soon as I get to the shadow, I jump off, and then I need to hit a precise angle here to take it out before it pulses. And that's 2 of the towers down. So you might think, isn't it slow to get off the mount and shoot the towers? Wouldn't it be better to go around them? But they just have a huge area of effect, those pulses. And if your mount is hit, like, it's out of commission until the tower is destroyed. And for the last tower here, you're gonna see me wait for the tower to hit my mount before I destroy it. That is because the mount will... If you destroy the tower while the pulse is on the way, the pulse will continue, but the stun will not disappear until the tower is destroyed. But because it got hit... while the pulse is on the way, he will never get unstunned, basically.
By that pulse from the tower.
Now we are heading into Firebreak, or the last part of the run, actually.
Actually, now might be a good time for donations.
Yeah, right here we'd probably do donations in the GDQ run. We probably would have done some in other places as well.
Right.
But basically now we are heading into the volcano, which is basically a giant factory.
Aloy? No.
Because, as I said, this is supposed to be Yellowstone, and there was a volcano that was about to erupt in awe, basically in all time, but they created like this huge facility to keep it under control, and an AI looking over it. But yeah, now that the Hephaestus, which is the demon that has taken over, is causing the eruption to happen, so we need to stop that.
Looks more like a machine.
Is that not fitting?
Yeah, and coming up there's
Whoops.
oops. Coming up there's a few different areas that kind of look like they're forced encounters, but it turns out you can just run right through them.
Yep. Wait, good touch there. So yeah, and there's a lot of machines here, but you don't actually have to kill any of them. Oh, I messed up the ladder skip there. Whoops. Usually I'm quite good at the jump.
There.
Yeah. You can skip climbing up that ladder with a precise jump.
Not much farther now.
So right here is a massive fight you would think you would have to do, but turns out you can just go right past it. So we're just gonna run into the middle of them. Might as well set up our weapons here, because another fairly new trick is coming up. So what's gonna happen here is there's a forced hologram that we have to watch up here, which is basically in a giant viewing room that has a glass window. But we can use the Stormslinger to trick all the machines to get close to that window. And then it turns out, for some reason, the Blast Sling is the only weapon that can shoot through the glass. We can take out the machines while the hologram is playing.
There's some sort of interesting collision going on where Aloy can stand and kind of stick her hand through the glass, and I believe that's what makes, or what lets us be able to shoot these blast bombs through the glass.
Yeah. So you can see right here, I can shoot through it. Other weapons are not able to shoot through this glass, but the Blastling can do it just fine. Because I assume it's something to do with the animation of this shot, but it's just differently. So normally we would just have to wait for this hologram to finish. But yeah, we can just take out some machines while we wait, and they are having a toast behind us. And normally you can take out all the machines here if you did a good job with the Stormslinger. You can take out all but one usually. But sometimes you can take out all of them. You can see there's 2 Scrappers, 2 Watchers, and the Scorcher. Here we're just gonna line this up. That gonna hit? Yeah, that definitely hit. So you can see I can't see the machine because I need to shoot at a higher angle here to hit him. Let's see if we can get him. Could be that. No. Fell a bit out of range. There, and can we actually hit him from here? Let's have a look. Maybe a long Kobe. Nah, he's out of range. But we took out all but one, so we can just finish him off when we get down there. And then head straight for the door.
A lot of these strats, like pulling all the machines closer, are very recent too.
Yeah, I think it was fine, like maybe last week.
Yeah, exactly.
You were right.
And also the way I was shooting the Stormslinger, I was standing in a specific spot in order to stop some dialogue from happening. Because if the dialogue had happened, the machines would not react to the Stormslinger.
The door is open now.
See, there is what happens if you hit an armor plate, you do a lot less damage.
Stop us from the door.
So right, now we are just completely home free and can just head through this door and nothing will happen. Right?
Of course.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes. Like, just walk through doors. Like, what would happen? An ambush? Oh, of course. Oh. So we have a Thunderjaw here, probably the most iconic machine in Horizon Zero Dawn, and I'm just gonna stand here and wait for him to come at me here.
Yeah, it's
then,
not even.
As soon as he's close, dodge out of the way, and then start freezing him. And then we want to keep him sideways to us. Hopefully.
Yeah, so we switched to a different ice rail so that we can apply more freeze. And another thing to note is that this is a demonic Thunderjaw, so it's more aggressive than it has been. So we try to get it frozen so we can get these nice heart shots, which is just like a 5x damage multiplier. Try to get as many as possible, but it can be tricky to land all of them with the way the Thunderjaw moves.
Yeah, you can kill them in 3 shots. That would be a perfect fight. But right there was 2 hot shots and then 3 body shots to finish him off. Because you want to keep him sideways when you freeze him. Because then the freeze will take away the plates protecting his heart. And then you can immediately shoot into the heart. But if you're not quick enough, or he decides to turn quicker, he will just turn around, and then you no longer have an angle on the heart. And then you just have to do body shots on the neck, because that's where he has no armor. So coming up here is some skips. I'm just gonna take out this Watcher so he doesn't fight Aurea and Aratak, because this is basically an escort mission at this point. And now we can just do this. Because, that is... Okay, I failed. I thought I was gonna hit in the first try.
Yeah, that vent is normally not something you can go past. It just keeps knocking you back. But if you time a roll just right, you can get through, and by the time it hits you, it'll kind of push you a little bit forward, and you can get beyond that vent.
Yep. So it's... I'm not sure if it's frame perfect, pixel perfect, or whatever, but it's very precise. But there's some lines on the floor that I personally use to know exactly where to time it. And because normally you're supposed to climb over it, but it takes too long. And then right here we'll use some proximity bombs, which are basically landmines, to make sure the Shellwalker doesn't attack an Aurea, because we don't want them to be slowed down. And I missed the box jump. Yes, of course. Just not good at that box jump lately.
Box jump, yeah, it's it can be tricky, huh?
You're not supposed to do this jump either, but there's a small window where you can grab onto the box. So now you can see, because I missed the box jump, now Aurea and Aratak starts fighting the Shellwalker, so my bombs didn't really matter.
Come on over, it's safe.
And this door that's in front of me, only they can open it, so that's why I have to make sure they keep up. Because this door right here, nobody can open it but them. Or there's another way that we are about to show with the next one we come up to. But right here we'd probably do another donation or two, while Cyan gives some more exposition.
Exploit successful. Restraints abated. To any human responder.
Right here I'm trying to craft ammo while Cyan is talking, but I don't want to craft ammo while there's breaks in our talk, because you might, if you bring up the menu here, while it slows down the game, but dialogue cannot be slowed down. But the breaks in between dialogue can. So you want to craft ammo while dialogue is going on, basically.
It certainly looks a little
safe,
strange.
but it adds up. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks strange like when you partially topped off something and then you stop, and that's purely because you're listening to the dialogue to make sure that you don't waste time.
Yeah. Like,
Another
basically
one of those,
taking full advantage of the downtime.
Yeah,
So,
it's another one of those did the runner make a mistake sort of things, but it's very intentional.
Yep. So coming up here is another room where there's a lot of enemies we would normally have to kill, then do some parkour, and then get a bridge, and then Aratak and Aurea would have to open the door, but we're not going to do that. We're going to use this little Shellwalker here as a little stepping stone to skip the parkour part, to get up here. Then we're going to activate the bridge.
I need to get Aurea.
Because
The Shellwalker jump is certainly one of my favorite things about it. But an interesting thing is that this game was released on PC, and we've been starting to notice that Shellwalker starts to walk away a little bit early, and so it may not be possible to do that all the time on PC.
Yep. And now I'm gonna intentionally plant some bombs here right next to me. Then I'm gonna wait for the Scorcher to hit me, because the Scorcher... Oh. Okay. I've not seen that before. He literally got stunned. So you cannot damage these doors to open them, but if somebody hits these bombs... Okay, this was a very slow example. But if somebody hits those bombs, and right next to it, it doesn't count as you doing the damage, and it opens the door, basically.
Nice.
Yeah.
Use of gravity there, again.
Yep, and now it's time for the yeet, which is either gonna be impressively done on first try, or we are gonna be here all night. So I better see some hype if this is gonna be first try. You wanna explain it?
Sure, yeah, this upcoming section, it takes about like a minute and a half maybe to go around the intended way, because it involves...
Nah, it's a minute with the old speedrun strat. It's probably 4 minutes casually.
4 minutes casually, yeah, right, with the old speedrun strat.
Yeah.
But basically, we're using special arrows here. You can see them in the bottom right, has like that purple glow. These are called Terror Blast arrows, and they have a small explosion that can actually inflict Aloy to get knocked out of the way. So we can... First try. Wow.
Yeah, it's so easy to do this trick. I never fail it. Nobody ever fails this trick. If you fail this trick, you're just like, come on.
It's certainly one of those tricks that looks really easy once it's done, but holy crap, you will lose your sanity over this area for sure.
The annoying thing is that trick is very precise. It's not RNG, it's just extremely precise. At least that's how I feel about it. Which is a little annoying because the old strat, which was a minute slower, was the most consistent strat probably in the entire game. It's a little annoying we now have a very precise trick there. That can
always
make or break a run.
Chaos.
Yeah. Because let's just say a lot of runs have died there. From many runners.
From every runner that's tried this category.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody who's ever run this game has lost a run here. Or everybody done the DLC has lost one here. There's the last puzzle that basically brings Cyan back into control of Firebreak. But then Hephaestus is of course gonna try to take back control by, you know, launching a counter-attack. Which is gonna be the Fireclaw fight, which, by many accounts, everybody would probably agree is the hardest fight in the game.
Very tough and very aggressive enemy, and it's basically the bigger sibling to the Frostclaws.
Yes.
Obviously, as the name implies, is fire instead of ice attacks.
Yep. In order to start the fight, you have to take out a control tower, which is a bit far away, but we're gonna use the ice cannon again to just snipe it. Like so. Oh, I missed. Damn. It's a little precise. Okay, now we have to leave. But, yeah. So the strat for the Fireclaw is gonna be to first freeze him, then do a lot of damage, and then we wanna take out the belly. So you wanna commentate while the fight goes on?
Sure thing, yeah. And so regarding the freeze obviously...
you instantly attack?
Will apply a lot more damage, and we want to take out the belly because when the Fireclaw has the belly, they can unfreeze. So we want to take out that belly as quickly as possible. That way we can apply freeze again and get that massive damage boost. Now, also during this fight, we took out that first control tower, but 2 more control towers will show up. And these will only show up once we've applied enough damage to the Fireclaw.
Yep.
Fortunately, a single triple shot can take out control tower.
If you hit.
And then we just want to make sure that
everything is under control, don't panic.
50 HP, no big deal.
Yep. Oh yeah, and the best way to dodge a Fireclaw, it might seem a little scary, but the best way to dodge him is actually to go through his legs.
There we go. You like to slap forward if you try to dodge backward, they will keep charging forward and slapping.
So that's probably the trick a lot of people have died to when they play casually, is they dodge backwards or to the sides. But the best way to dodge is to go straight through the legs. And now he's frozen, and because he doesn't have his belly, he can't unfreeze. Because he doesn't have his Fire Blast, and now he's dead. But because you take out the belly, he just loses so many of his attacks and many of his abilities to defend himself. So destroying the belly is like the key to beating the Fireclaw. And that is also the final fight in the game. But the run doesn't end here, because the main quest technically finishes back at Aurea's retreat, where there's just some exposition here towards the end.
Yeah, we have to talk to both Cyan a little bit. Now that we freed Cyan, then come back and talk to Aratak, and their run will be done.
Yep. And a lot of people always ask this. Like, trust me, I've been asked it approximately 1,000 times when I do Frozen Wilds runs. There's a errand in this quest, or basically a side quest to the Frozen Wilds, which is called Out of the Forge, where you have to kill 5 Fireclaws and scattered throughout the map. And I just want to point out that is not actually part of the main quest of the Frozen Wilds, but a lot of people think it is. It's actually considered a side quest in the Frozen Wilds, or an errand, to be more specific. And so if you think that should have been part of the run, complain to Guerrilla Games, because they did not include it as a main quest. But a lot of people think it should be. And yeah.
A quest definitely rewards the best weapon coil for the striker bow, the pristine coil.
Yep, and that's time. That was a 40-30 Lotus. Let's see GDQ time-wise what it was, because GDQ will obviously be done in real time. Let me just change the comparison. So that was a 43-21. It was actually a gold in real time, lol.
Wow.
Nice.
Inconsistent load times.
Yeah. Yeah, Horizon runs a timed loadless because loads vary a lot, especially now on PC, due to hardware differences.
I would not have been able to protect her.
And yeah, I guess just quickly to end here, the run was done on PS4, and the GDQ run will be done on PS4, basically because the tech check and the tech check was done for DDQ prior to the PC release, as well as when I submitted for DDQ, we didn't have a release date for PC, so, you know, that's why this run is being performed on PS4. So, hope you guys enjoyed this commentary, because I think it went pretty well. Of course, always have some things to improve on for Friday, but I think we did well here.
Yeah, run seemed great to me.
Yeah, it was actually a good run. I mean, not really anything to really complain about, I would say.
First try Terrorblast, so.
Yeah, I mean,
There's something else, isn't there?
that's good enough for me, I guess.
Exactly.
And where I'm going, the Warrack can't follow.
So yeah, that is a run of the Frozen Wilds in New Game Plus Ultra Hard. And I hope everyone enjoyed it. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to check out Blegas. He also, in case you don't know, he also speedruns the game. He streams on Twitch, Blegas78. I'll be sure to link his channel down below. So be sure to check him out if you want to see somebody other than me speedrun this game. Turns out I'm not the only one anymore that runs this game. So, yeah, this was a good practice commentary, everyone, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. Do you have any final words?
No, it's an honor that you invited me and everything, and I'm looking forward to doing this live. And yeah, it should be a good time. Yep. So yeah, thanks everybody for watching, and yeah, hope you have a good day.